just wanted to thank you for watching Points of Interest, and to tell you, keep watching.
Hi, and thank you to Countess Anise for giving us a little shout out. That was extremely cool of Kat Tabor for saying that for us. Also, thank you to Richie Bogatar Procopio for giving us a little pre-show. That looked like they had a super full map.
Yes.
Yeah, they did. I think the best part was the chicken, though, by far.
You didn't think the Leveling Alts is Fun song was the best part? Because that was an
pretty
amazing
good,
song.
But, I mean, the chicken was the frosting, right? The icing on the cake.
The chicken was the frosting. I'm realizing that I have named this show wrong. Because the chicken was the frosting would be an amazing show name.
There you go.
All right, so I feel like we've had enough silliness. Well, you missed the beginning of the
We're
show,
only
but we've
getting
had more
started,
than enough
Ruby.
silliness.
This was a mistake for you.
It was the exact opposite of a mistake. Really. All right, so I am Ruby, and thank you guys for joining me on Points of Interest.
You're welcome.
Want to say hi to Steve Hwang and Anthony Ordon real quick.
Howdy.
I'll let you guys introduce yourselves real quick. Steve?
I'm one of the content designers working on one of the explorable maps.
And Heart of Thorns, the Guild Wars 2 expansion. That's the best part.
Yes.
Anthony?
I'm also one of the content designers working on Heart of Thorns, the Guild Wars 2 expansion.
We get to say expansion.
We can say
you
that
guys,
now.
we can say
We can
expansion.
stop calling it by its code word, which I won't mention here.
Expansion.
It was a ridiculous code
It was a
word.
ridiculous code word.
All right, we are really excited to show you some of Heart of Thorns, which you can see behind us right now. First, I want to take a look at a couple of fan projects real quick. Let's look at this first one because I'm kind of loving it. Let's start with this one from Coca Bell, which we've seen some of their art before. And it's a Heart of Thorns thing. See, I'm not going to make you wait too long. They said, I am trying out the painting program Krita, inspired, and this was before PAX South, inspired by the mysterious floating figure seen briefly in the Heart of Thorns teaser trailer. Finding out who or what that was has me super excited. And then they went back and edited later and said this was drawn and posted before PAX, so I will be sure to try and paint the updated version, and they hashtagged it Team Mersat, which, all right, but I don't feel like they're the friendliest things on the planet. But I'm just super impressed by how well that was done trying out new software.
That's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Something that they've done that they're not familiar with.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. I mean, we only really showed a couple of shots of that, right, in the trailer, so that's pretty well realized. I like it a lot. I'm going to put that on my wallpaper.
Are you?
Yeah.
I have my desktop computer at my desk upstairs is usually fan art, so.
Yeah, I just put it all in a folder and then cycle them through.
Yeah, this one might go up there. All right,
I have fond memories of the Mersat.
I do not. They hurt. Oh gosh, this one's so cute. This one's from Fum Fum, my Necro, and her really most adorable mini pet.
It's a really big mesmer there, right? Is that what that is? Giant mesmer.
It's a Necro.
It's a Necro. Oh,
and
sorry.
their mini pet. I love the little packed airship, and that was one of those things that I kept saying, I need to go get that. I need to go get that.
Yeah, there's so many mini pets that I need to go get.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm really bad about
Good
collecting
packed
them.
airship.
Like I have two, but I have the llama, so I mean, come on.
So cute, right? Okay, one more. From Gears to Gnomes, took a picture of their sketchbook, and I love real-world Guild Wars 2 art.
Yes, it's great.
This was one of their characters, and Timey. I hope I don't butcher your character's name. If I do, I'm really sorry. Tamiara and Timey had an argument, and the commander came in and broke the ice. So that was just a little sketch of the progression of their argument.
Nicely done.
Yeah,
see the rest of it.
Love.
More.
Yeah.
There is.
It's a whole story, isn't it?
It looks like I was kind of skimming through their Tumblr just to get some context.
Yeah.
And there was a whole lot of art of these two, which I got a kick out of.
That's cool.
Which brings me to, you can see a whole lot of our other community projects at guildwars2.tumblr.com, and you can submit your own by clicking the submit button. You can also find Gears to Gnomes. I was afraid I was going to get that wrong. Gears to Gnomes, you can find more of their art by going through the sketchbook image on our Tumblr. So we would love to see some of your stuff there. So why don't we go ahead and start on Heart of Thorns content, because I know that's what you guys are wanting to see.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what we're talking about today? I didn't know that.
Yeah, is that cool?
That's cool.
Or, I mean, if you're not comfortable, we can just go and do something else.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Only if you guys really want to.
If you guys really, really super want to.
Okay.
All right, Steve, let's start with what you're working on. Well,
I'm working on a different map, and we haven't really explored that one.
yeah, well, you guys, there's more to show you guys soon.
Yeah.
I'll take you off the spot really, really quickly.
No, that's all right.
Anthony, how about you? What are you working on?
I'm working on this. What we're looking at right here, this is...
Not the live stream, the stuff.
Yeah, the live stream. No, I'm actually, I've been working pretty closely with the expansion team on this particular map and all the content that goes in on here. So right here, what we're looking at, this is what remains of the packed fleet that we saw, spoiler alert, get destroyed in many, many videos. So, yep, there goes the helicopter. It's nasty. Basically, Mordramoth has come up from the ground, the roots of the jungle, ripped apart the fleet, ripped apart the land. There's vines everywhere. There's a whole bunch of crash ships. It's basically just a big, big field of wreckage.
Pack
Sounds like a
survivors
good
everywhere.
time.
Does sound like a good time. It sounds like a good time to kill some baddies, I guess. So right here, what we're looking at is this is an area where, as we mentioned, Larenthir of the Wild has crashed in the ship along with some Pale Reavers. This is what remains of their ship, the Lethal Vantage. And today we're going to be looking at an adventure that takes place inside the ship.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of stuff to look at today.
Yeah.
This feels kind of overwhelming. Okay, so let's start with just the general kind of overall jungle, because we've been talking about that a whole lot this week. Izzy was talking to IGN a little bit. You actually wrote a blog with Sean and Matt that I think came out yesterday.
Yep, that came out yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah.
And today we're going to look at a whole bunch of that stuff. Since we're hanging out here in relative safety, are you okay? I think you're good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Let's just kind of start with an overall talk about how this area was designed, because there are some cool things just about how the map works. And I'll let you guys kind of run with that because you made it and you're better at it than I am.
So, we've been working on maps, obviously for a while now in GW2 and sort of evolving what open world content looks like in the game. And so I think, with the expansion, we've reached a really high point in terms of, GW2 map design. And we've gone through, a couple of phases. We obviously the base game and then, South Sun Cove. Dry Top, Silver Waste, and so I think we're really just trying to pull in the best of everything. One thing that we found worked really well, in terms of Dry Top and Silver Waste was the map-wide objective. And so all of the expansion maps are going to have some amount of map-wide objective. And this one, the story is basically sort of centered around these, packed fleet survivors that are crashed here and just trying to survive. And so what that entails is, striking out during the day, capturing a bunch of landmass, capturing key objectives, and then basically getting ready for nighttime. And what happens at nighttime is just bad news. Mordramoth's going to come out again in force and just try to take everything back. And in numbers, yeah. And so a lot of what you'll be doing during the daytime is, capturing different areas, and sort of the more, progress you make during the day, the better chances of surviving at night you have.
I want to point out the scariness that this is the good version of what's happening here. I mean, this is the good stuff.
Yeah, this is actually the safe state of the map with the giant birds or reptiles flying around in the sky. So
I'm frightened.
Yeah.
As for map-wide objectives, I mean, it's something that we've seen work pretty well. And if you compare it to say like Queensdale, where say maybe about half the events were kind of themed with the theme of Queensdale, which is humans versus centaurs. Our new maps, we're trying to focus. Almost everything you do is based upon the map-wide objective. In this case, surviving versus Mordramoth. Gathering all the survivors, and then which leads to outposts.
Yeah, and it gives a good player solidarity. Everybody's working toward the same thing. You're all there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so while everybody on the map is sort of focused towards this one goal, you're going to find different areas of the map are sort of represented by different kind of sub-factions or different kinds of characters. And so on this map, in particular, we're looking at a small area that's controlled by Larenthir. And that's sort of represented by what we're calling an outpost, which is basically sort of a reimagined meta event. And so what all that really means is that we have centralized locations in the expansion where you know there's going to be content, and then when you look on the map, you'll be able to see, hey, that outpost, there's a number of outposts on these map. This one is sort of unclaimed yet. This one is claimed but not fully completed, and so you'll know exactly where you need to go to find the content, which really sort of brings home the dynamic event system in terms of just getting people to go where they need to be.
Another thing that Outpost does is that it gives players a little bit more permanence and agency to securing and unlocking areas of the map.
Yeah.
If you claim an outpost, you could control that area for well over an hour.
Yeah.
And compare that to Queensdale, where you clean up the garrison and the centaurs come back 10 minutes later.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of nature of dynamic content in Guild Wars 2 is such that, there's always sort of a back and forth and ebb and flow of world state. I think what Outposts do is they sort of help you realize what those changes are. And so when you do something in the expansion like, hey, let's help Larenthier recontest this area, that's sort of driven home through the Outpost UI, and you can see those changes happen. And then as you become familiar with the Outpost and all the states that it can be in, you know exactly how to sort of pursue those objectives,
right.
When you come back and replay it. And then what we're trying to do is, give a lot of sort of variety within the outpost, and so things can break a different way, right. That kind of stuff.
I mean, all the outposts help the map-wide objective, similarly to how all the forts and silverways did. But outposts are kind of more contextualized in the area that they're in, so they can tell different stories, and the ways that you contribute to the map-wide objective can, vary, to something more serious to even lighthearted stuff too. But we're trying to have a greater theming and agency for the player to affect the world.
So it's not just cap it and walk away and forget about it. There's a lot more to do once.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing that we're really trying to drive home with Outposts is keep the character cast very important. So whereas I think you meet a lot of characters in the base game, in the open world who are they're kind of similar to each other, or they sort of represent the same type of character. And so what we've done is we've really focused in on telling smaller or stories with smaller cast of characters, and those characters sort of persist throughout the story. And so what that translates to is essentially long event chains or webs where you see the same characters over and over again, right. And you learn them and their personalities. And
in addition to that, we're viewing maps kind of as a period in the story, so that a character that you see in one map you may see again in a later map, and you can create a stronger relationship with them.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about this area in particular that we're in. Where are we and what's going on?
So right here, this is basically the first area in the expansion. You'll see one of the first areas you can see in the expansion, and this is what we're going to see in the demo. And so this is basically, like I said, where Larenthier has crashed, and then they're basically just trying to survive. I keep saying basically, but
that's okay.
That's the essence of the content here, is that they're trying to strike out. They've got basically a small group of stragglers that are sort of here, and then they're just pushing out and trying to survive this tide of enemies that are sort of coming in. And so what you see here is things like off in the distance, we've got one of our new creatures here, which is called the Mordrum Breacher, I believe. And his name has changed a couple of times. And, he's one of these guys that comes up out of the ground and spews enemies out. And so you have to defeat it to basically stop the spawns, right?
Yeah, those are super interesting. And I keep looking at them hoping that he will go into the next, I don't know, are we calling them phases, when he starts spewing? Hey, there he goes.
Yep, they're definitely out and about and active and doing stuff. And so if we hop up here a little bit, and I'll give you guys a small
let's take a look
sneak
at him.
peek. Yeah. What's going on up here? So right now we've got
it's actually kind of
got
gross,
Larenthier
but
the Wild,
it's cool.
And they're bigger than they look right now.
Yeah, he's got his little
very
group
far
of
away.
he's got his little group of
Pale Reavers
here, and he's recognized that the commander of the pact has showed up. He's ready to help. And so we're like, heck yeah, let's do this. And so these guys are going to be up here, and they're going to be sniping, basically. These are high-powered snipers up here, and so they're taking out stuff. And so one of the things you can do here is you have the opportunity to help them out and do some high-powered sniping shots of your own. So it's pretty neat. And then if you go down there and fight these breachers, these guys will be up here covering you. Other players will be up here covering you. So we're trying to focus a little bit on more cooperative objectives and just different ways to play the game.
Yeah, one thing you didn't really touch upon is in Outposts, there's several levels that you can help advance them, and at each level you'll get different benefits. It could be a waypoint, services, could be unlocking new events and adventure.
Yeah.
And then as you do these new things, you can advance it again and upgrade those. Have more NPC interactions.
Yeah, that's actually the concept behind Outpost, is that we want to basically give you a place where you can look and see what impact on the world am I actually having here. And so one of the things that occurs here is you'll unlock a waypoint after you progress a certain amount. You'll also unlock adventures, which will be the next thing we talk about. You'll unlock services, vendors, that kind of thing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe some resource farms. A lot of things we used to actually do in the base game, but we didn't really have a good way to message that to the player. And so sometimes that stuff can just get lost. Right. And so now we're sort of reinforcing it through this stronger UI element and also just story structure.
Yeah. Right. All right, so I'm going to get past my disappointment that we didn't get to see him spit his green bile all over the place. Oh, you want to see him spit the green bile? I'm sorry.
That's
okay.
Right.
I can wait on the green bile. I feel like somehow I will go on. But you did mention adventures, and this is my favorite part, so I'm kind of eager to get to that. Let's go ahead and take a look, because earlier we had like the giant gold shiny, and I started getting really, really excited to show this.
You should have saw how excited she was.
It wasn't that funny, but I did get a little high-pitched about playing through this. It was really, really fun. Oh gosh, there I go again. So you were talking about adventures. We talked a little bit about it in the news post on Wednesday. I'll go ahead and let you run in that direction, and we can talk about how you access them, so you guys can get a little head start on how you get in there.
Sure. Yeah. So adventures are going to be found on the map. They have their own icon, which is kind of under my character here. They're sort of, they're analogous to other map objectives that we have, like POIs or vistas, except that this one, you go there and you have to do a thing. And so it's a little bit like a Renowned Heart. And I think this is sort of an evolution of the Renowned Heart. Given that the base game is full of Renowned Hearts that sort of help you level and tell you where to go, Adventures is sort of the other side of that, where you've gotten to the end of the game and you're sort of mastering things. And now what we're going to do, instead of giving you sort of kind of a leveling objective, we're going to give you a challenge, right? And so all adventures are sort of meant to be challenging experiences, in the sense that they're actually going to require you to really sort of change the way you play or play well, and they're all going to be littered throughout the map. And so anything could be an adventure, really. We talked about, we have a ton of ideas for these. We are trying to bring back some of the activities that we talked about before launch, maybe a shooting gallery or something like that along the way. But we also have things like jumping puzzles and races, or.
Yeah, you can think of them as personal challenges.
Yeah, absolutely.
And performance-based and repeatable.
Yeah, and the cool thing about adventures is that we're going to be trying to hook these up to leaderboards for your friends and your guild members, so you can try to one-up each other, and get really excited about that kind of stuff. And the other aspect of adventures that's really important is that it's going to be tied very closely to our mastery system. And so as you keep playing, you're going to get more abilities that will help you do these things even more efficiently and faster.
And you'll see that in a moment.
Well, let's see.
All right, so this adventure, just to give you a little context, this is the Lethal Vantage. It's crashed, it's kind of wrecked. There's still supplies in here. They still see this as a valuable asset for holding down at nighttime. And so it's being just overtaken by these vines. And so Tactician Smokeshot here believes that he's got a plan, which he's just going to burn all these vines out, with flamethrowers. And so when you interact with this adventure, he's going to kind of give you a brief overview of what he wants you to do, and then you can accept. And so once you accept, you get some new UI up here that's similar to events and tells you exactly what you need to be doing. And then you just kind of run around completing the objective, which in this case is to, flame out a bunch of vines. And so you're going to meet some resistance along the way. And this sort of works a little bit like a Renowned Heart. A lot of these objectives are going to be instanced, to you, so that, there's no like sniping each other out or, stealing resources from each other.
It's kind of like the way the gathering nodes work.
Yeah, exactly, like gathering nodes.
Everybody gets their own.
And then we're going to try to get through here. And so this one in particular requires a certain number of vines to be torched to win. And then once you've torched that many, you can just keep also going and see how many you can get within the time limit here. And so, yeah, this is just kind of a introductory run around romp.
So can you do the number 2 skill and kind of...
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing, so I'm...
So there are just vines. This ship is
all
absolutely littered with vines growing all over the place. And so there's a couple of skills on your bar here. One is just a sort of jet to sort of melt everything. And then this one is a targeted blast, so you can sort of get these high areas and scorch out these vines. And so getting a really high score at this adventure is going to involve 2 things. One, it's going to be being a little quick. And then the other thing is going to be knowing and learning where all these things actually come out at, so you can target them around. And then also avoiding these trolls, which are doing their best to get me gone here. So
I was playing with this last night. The trolls were not in there.
Oh,
the
yeah.
First time you...
Yeah. Well, here at ArenaNet, we do a little bit of iteration, and
just
so
a little.
Yeah, I may or may not have called you a few names, because the first time you showed this to me, there was nothing that wanted to hurt me.
Yeah, most adventures are going to have some amount of tension. Hopefully something that's outside of just the time limit.
Yeah, there was
Right.
tension. I was very tense.
I am just barely going to get 50 here up, and
No.
we lost the game there. So.
Welcome to game development.
Yeah,
Yes.
welcome to game development.
Yeah, we are actually working on this expansion.
Yeah,
is the thing here.
Yep.
Okay, so
That was what I got for winning. It was.
that was what you got. That's the worst. We should maybe work on the prize for winning, because that's the worst prize I've ever seen.
That lets me know that I need to make it harder. So when somebody,
No. Okay, but seriously, you guys, this is ridiculously fun. I was having so much fun the first time they had me play through this. It's available at pretty soon after you unlock this first. This is the first map in Heart of Thorns, and it's available pretty quick after you unlock the map, right?
Yep. So once we get Larenthir and his Pale Reavers to a state where the area is relatively safe, they can start working on this objective. And so that's when this thing is going to open up, and they're going to say, "Hey, good news! We staked a claim in this area. Now let's focus on the next thing, which is going to be this adventure here." And so. Another quick cool thing to call out about adventures is that because they're sort of meant to be a little challenging, we really wanted to focus in on making the challenge as approachable as possible. And so if you fail this thing, or if you get to a state where you decided that you'd like to restart, all you have to do is hit this little X, and then basically the whole thing will just kind of end, and you'll get a second chance.
So it's not like, okay, I have to run all the way back to the marker.
Right, exactly. So let's say we had a jumping puzzle in which
Yes.
you were to say, go collect, a bunch of objects, and you fell off, right? Rather than like killing you and then make you go back to a waypoint and then run back to the start of the jumping puzzle, you would just be able to, say, yeah, I'd like to restart, and then we'd put you back where you need to be, and you could start over.
I'm a really bad jumper, so I have like reflexive anger at the thought of falling off of a jumping puzzle. I'm just sitting over here going,
Yeah.
Adventures is, the repeatable nature, and we're trying to make the maps really replayable in a variety of ways. Outposts, they can be unlocked in the map cycle for the map-wide objective. Adventures. We want to create content that's very deep and dense, and so we've been focusing on fewer maps for this, but every map it has a lot of content.
yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. So if you are really excited about playing through this one, this is part of the demo that is going to be available at PAX East. If you are going to PAX East, you can get your hands on this in just a few weeks.
Yeah. Go to PAX East,
That's
see
right.
if you can beat my top score, which is somewhere around 90.
Yeah.
I threw the gauntlet down
You're
there.
just unbelievably smug right now. Because you know what I'm going to be doing tonight, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's why you did that.
The gauntlet
PAX
has
East
been
is March
thrown
6th through
down.
8th. Yeah, you really, really did. No, you're not.
I'll give you 2 points.
You're not even a little bit sorry.
Also, if you're like me and you've unlocked cool masteries,
That's right.
you can do a little better. But we won't talk about that today. So
Actually, you know what? We should talk about masteries for just a second. You guys probably want to hear about masteries, but we are kind of running out of time and we need to wrap it up. And I'm mad at you too. So. But I know you guys are really, really excited about Heart of Thorns. So here's what we're going to do is have a bonus episode of Points of Interest next Wednesday, February 11th.
wow.
Not with you. I'm not mad at you. I'm really, really excited that you came today. And I'm really excited that you showed me this adventure because it's so much fun. But we are going to bring our expansion systems designer, Dave Webb, and our expansion content designer, Nellie Hughes, on next Wednesday for an extra episode of POI. It starts next Wednesday, the same time as it always starts, noon Pacific time. We're going to talk about masteries, and we're going to show off some more gameplay, maybe some gliding and some mushroom jumping. So you guys need to tune in for that one too, for some more gameplay. For right now, we have another video courtesy of Aurora Peachy. She had a ton of footage from PAX South and put together a little outtake video for us. So thank you guys both for coming on.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And
Well,
thank
keep playing
you.
this adventure.
I want to play. Thank you for the video, Aurora. And we are going to watch this video and then have Hugh on for PvP 101.
And we'll see you in the Heart of Maguuma.
This is what nerds we are, is we're just sitting here filming each other.
We're not nerds.
We're not here because of video games, are we?
Vidya.
Vidya. And this is, we got Jebro and Chronic Gamer
Am I taking a video?
over there taking
Chronic
videos.
Gamer is the one with
Yeah.
What day is it? Friday.
Friday.
This is our Friday cameo together.
Friday.
Day one.
PAX!
Mini lavas!
Did it? Yes.
I gotta get like the little like Norn dance going. I cannot do the Carlton.
So awesome.
You guys ready?
Ready to do this.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready?
Hell yes.
Are you ready?
I was born ready, sir.
First expansion pack for Guild Wars 2.
The Revenant channels the power of great legends from Guild Wars past and uses those to help power the skills it has available to it. So let's talk about some examples. I think you've all been waiting a long time to hear this one. Guild Halls.
Yes!
Awesome.
Yes!
All right.
Second pass.
Why would I require my first reaction was.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi. Welcome to PvP 101, and thank you for coming back, Hugh.
Oh, no problem. I'm excited to do this with everybody.
Steer me through the waters of noob.
Hey, man, I've actually received a lot of thank yous. A lot of people who play PvP now.
I am super excited about that. It's a bigger response than I ever thought we were going to have, so I am gratified to hear that.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Thanks everybody who's followed along with us, and also just kind of taking the words and just taking a chance. Taking a chance for fun, and have found it.
It doesn't hurt as bad. I mean, I spent all of this time thinking, oh my gosh, I can't. It's scary, and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun.
Cool.
So we talked 2 weeks ago we talked in the last episode about just player culture and kind of the different kind of players you were going to find. And we're going to branch off of that a little bit this time and talk about some of the challenges that you're going to find and how to deal with them, and whether or not they're actually challenges or, well, good ones or bad ones.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting. On my Twitter, I actually messaged out to people who wanted to play, people that are new who wanted to play some PvP, and they actually gave me feedback on this thing. I didn't tell them about what we were doing today, but I thought it was really interesting, some of the things they came up with, and it's kind of the things we're going to be talking about.
Awesome.
So one of the things was they said, they're new. They had the Call the Mist buff, which we had for the ESL that happened on Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
Yeah, and so
That
people
felt
were like,
good.
you know what, I'm going to jump in and try some PvP. You know, I've watched some of the PvP 101 stuff, I'm going to jump in and try. And some of the things that happened was when they went into custom arenas to do the practice, and people would stomp them, and they would say things, obviously, and do things like that. Which
Were they nice things?
some of them were, some of them. Actually, it was really interesting, though. The people that they said they actually did the whole thing where they spectated one of the players.
Yeah.
That one of the professions that they were playing, watched him for a few games and actually messaged that person and was like, hey, I see you're running a build that I'm kind of wanting, can you give me any tips? And he actually grouped up with that person and played a few games with them and actually kind of gave them ropes. So you would be surprised how, if you actually talk with some people while they're playing or after they're playing and ask them for tips, a lot of people are really receptive to that kind of stuff.
I sort of want to have you make that my homework, because that seems like a very difficult thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to feel kind of ridiculous doing it, but it seems very valuable.
Yeah, no,
Yes?
and it really, really is. Another thing you can do is, if people are getting like really, really toxic, like I said the other time, you can easily just go to play PvP and then go to your game browser and select a different game, a different one of these, spectate it, look to see how the games are playing out, and then jump in if you feel like it's something that will be that you will have a better time in. Again, spectate a couple people, see if they're really good or whatnot, and go from there. The other thing you can do, which I thought was actually interesting, I didn't even think about this, but you can also just go to your chat and turn off map chat. You can turn off say chat, and you can just leave team chat on and just communicate with your team.
Yeah.
Another really good thing that I saw was actually kind of pretty good.
Yeah, if map chat's getting particularly feisty.
Just it's very simple. Just turn it off, and then you can go right in and play and just have fun talking with your team and going through those communication channels with those players, because that's who you really want to, you know, the people that you're working with are the ones that you want to communicate really well. So map chat, not super important, but it's nice to be able to say, hey, good game, hey, have fun.
Right.
Those things are really good, and it helps the game stay positive.
Yeah, if it gets like that, you have 100% less gross if it
Yes.
comes to that.
Yes. But yeah, it was really awesome to hear people say like they had kind of gone through some of these things in playing PvP, and they kind of found outlets to help them out. But yeah, definitely one thing I want to point out though is spectate. Go into a match, you know, go open your browser, find one of the matches, go to game browser. So again, I just click the top button here, play PvP. Go to here, game browser, select one of these matches, one of them that are, you know, has a couple of good players in it, or has some players in it, and then just go in there, make sure it has the spectate icon, which is this little eye right next to it. If it has the eye, if it doesn't have the eye, it means you can't spectate. And just go in there, we'll go jump in one right real quick, and we'll spectate one. Just go and see a player and see kind of what their build is, and I can just kind of look and do that. So like I'm gonna go here. And so, oh yeah, we also have the really awesome camera transitions.
I was like, talk about the camera.
Yeah, so like see right here, I went right over to this person playing warrior. He's got a bunch of signets, and he's running a greatsword. So
And that's their build, it's not yours.
That's their build, so I can kind of look to see, okay, so he's doing this and that, and I can kind of watch. Same thing, I can pop over to this person running axe sword. And again, I play warrior, so if I really wanted to learn, I can talk to these guys maybe after the match, or just whisper them like, hey, I'm spectating you. I'm just gonna like see what your build is. Maybe I'll have questions and ask them.
I'm having mild panic at the thought of somebody spectating me.
But actually, it was really awesome. I went in and played with those guys, and one of them was like, "Hey, can I just spectate and watch you?" And I was like, "Yeah, please." And then if any questions, just let me know. And you'll be surprised, just even if going in a lobby and asking people, like, "Hey, kind of new to Warrior. Maybe can you guys give me a little help? Maybe something on that." Hop over to Meta Battle, look at some of those builds, read the synopsis of the build. All these things are really nice things you can do to kind of prepare yourself for going in. But yeah, other than that, I mean,
I think if you reach out and don't just stand there silently, you're going to get a good response. It doesn't sound, I mean, you've got a few loudmouths in there.
Yep.
And it can be intimidating, but
Yeah.
if you grit your teeth and make yourself do it, which has been the whole premise of me doing this.
Uh-huh.
And I have found it's been 1,000 times better than I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
And if you just grit your teeth, it's going to be pretty good.
And I will say, one of the things I think helps us, both players and as developers, is our community is so nice. Obviously, you have those people.
It really is.
But it is on a whole. I will say that of all the games, competitive games I've played over my lifetime, I will say that our community is probably one of the strongest and most helpful and not as bad mannered as a lot of the other ones that you actually will get into. So you'd be
Yeah.
surprised just reaching out and talking to somebody. You might actually find a new friend, new guild, new people to play with. Because a lot of people, especially in Heart of the Mist, they're here, they're queuing and all those things. They're here for PvP.
Yeah.
And so being able to help out friends, being able to help new people, to get more people into PvP, a lot of people would be really receptive to that.
Yeah. And I will say that as a pure PvE player, up until we started doing this, our perception, I mean, and I'm talking on my behalf and you guys who are watching the show, because you're pure PvE players, we do have a little bit of a skewed perception because PvP culture is a little different than PvE. So we're coming in and looking around and going, this is very different than what I'm used to. And if you haven't played a lot of competitive game or any competitive games, so keep in mind that you're working from that as well.
Well, I mean, other than that, guys, I mean, just have some fun, play.
It's easier than you would think. There are a couple of experiences that we had talked about in our meetings that I had bumped into because you taught me a couple of things. You had taught me a couple of things that I didn't realize were happening. We had talked about a little bit last time about high-level players farming, and I think we mentioned this before, and you said you might not be getting farmed.
Yeah. A lot
It
of
may
times.
just be somebody trying out a new build. So don't freak out, pause, pull back, and find out what the situation is.
Yeah, because a lot of times these guys will come in here and like mid-level players or high-level players will jump into just a quick match and just want to like try out a quick build, and they may be more mechanically better than you, but a lot of times they're not trying to farm you, they're just testing out a build. They're looking at you as a character, as a profession, and going, okay, I want to try out this build against, this warrior. I want to try this build against this. And a lot of times they'll just be like, hey, I want to just play against this character, and they may see you and be like, okay, that was a good fight, but I think I could do better. I'm going to try to find that person again and keep trying this build out. So again, sometimes it's not as bad as you think. Obviously, there is the cases where it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, and I talk to some of my friends and whatnot, they'll jump into this and just want to be like, hey, I just want to play against a warrior. I just want to play against that, stuff like that.
Yeah, but they might, if somebody's wiping the map with everybody and like two-shotting everybody, maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah,
But
and then easily just switch a map, spectate a little bit, see if it feels like it's going to be a good experience for you, hop in.
yeah, so, all right, thank you again. We have a couple of cool things coming up though, and I will let you are much better at this than me, so.
Oh man, so this Saturday, if you guys are interested in just watching some PvP, maybe some high-level PvP, we have the WTS qualifiers. So WTS, just in case you guys don't know, is this big tournament we do where we invite out teams from Europe, China, and NA out to a big thing, and they're actually going to be at PAX East. So if you're going to PAX East, you'll be able to see myself and Josh there, and we're going to have the qualifier for the NA teams to see who's going to go to PAX East this Saturday. What time is it at, Josh? Let's make sure I can let them know.
7 a.m. for EU and 2 p.m. for NA.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, Josh. What's
7 a.m. for EU and 10 a.m. for NA. It's going to
Josh
be.
is like, thanks, man.
7 a.m. for EU.
Yeah. Oh, 2 p.m. I'm sorry. 7 a.m. for EU, 2 p.m. for NA. So if you guys want to check that out, please come out and watch. It's going to be a lot of really good matches. We got some, and this is where there's going to be 2 teams that qualify for NA. So it's going to be.
It's going to be pretty good.
It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight for first and second. So it's going to be pretty extreme.
And what does WTS stand for, Hugh?
World
You like how I
Tournament
did that?
Series. Yeah, no,
There you
sorry,
go.
I didn't think
That's
about
okay.
that. World Tournament Series.
I was kind of waiting for you to say it.
And then as a little side note, during the WTS qualifiers, there's going to be Stronghold teasers, which is the new PvP game mode, both for EU and NA. So there's 2 different teasers going out during those. So if you watch them both, you'll catch them both.
Stronghold is extremely cool.
Yeah, Stronghold, again, new PvP game mode. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's going to be awesome.
So,
all right.
That's pretty much it, guys.
Thank you very, very much for joining us again, Hugh. And
problem.
thank you for guiding me through the waters of noob. As always, I appreciate it.
It's a lot of fun
And
again.
thank you on behalf of all the other PvE players, because
Yeah.
it turns out I am not the only one who was doing this, and
No.
I am surprised by this every episode.
And again, also just thank you from me to you guys. Thank you for trying. You know, it's really easy for us to talk about it and say the experience we did, but for you guys to get out there and actually try and listen to this, I also appreciate, you guys doing that for us.
Totally worth it, even if it was really hard and it took me a ridiculous amount of time to get started. Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, as always, for joining. Follow our channel for updates on when we go live. There's a button somewhere down there
Somewhere
I can't, it's backwards, but there's a button down there. Push the purple button. Stick around after we are done. Aurora Peachy is going to come on right afterwards for a post-show wrap-up and to dissect everything that we have said.
Oh, yes.
Always a good time.
Awesome.
No, it really is. She's so much fun.
Yeah, she's
and
really
don't
awesome.
forget, we have a bonus episode of Points of Interest next Wednesday, the 11th, noon Pacific time. Masteries, gliding, and mushroom jumping. See you on Wednesday.
Yep,
Bye,
definitely.
guys.
Have a good